So I've got your assignment 5 turn-in opened up in Maya here, and I've plopped in a couple of objects here, a sphere and a plane, to kind of help demonstrate the difference between an extrusion in Maya as opposed to component manipulation, which is really just a big fancy way of saying moving around individual faces, vertices, or edges, okay? So I'm going to start with just kind of demonstrating the difference here on this plane, okay? So when I select my plane here and I right-click and hold over the plane, there's a component manipulation, basically meaning I can go to face mode or vertex mode or edge mode and then individually select faces, vertices, or edges that I want to move, scale, rotate, or, just move around. So I'm going to go to face mode right now. I'm just going to hover over face and let that go. So now you can see I can select individual faces, alright? And I can move them around as I want. I can scale them, I can rotate them, and just move them all over the place. So this is actually what is called component manipulation when I'm doing something like this, where I'm just grabbing a face and moving it individually of the rest, or independently, excuse me, of the rest of the object. I can also grab more than one face at a time if I'd like, by holding the shift key when I'm selecting faces, alright? And I can grab those and move those around. So pretty easily, in this sort of mode, I can create structures that look like little hills or valleys, just like so. And what's happening here really is that I'm grabbing this face, and what's important to understand with this is that when I grab this face and pull it up somewhere, all of the faces that are surrounding this face are stretched out, so they're kind of along for the ride, okay? So if I do something to this guy, all of its neighbors, if you will, are going to change shape as well, okay? So if I pull this out, these faces that were next to this face that I'm currently manipulating are also changing shape to accommodate the changes that I'm making to this face. I can stretch them really far. So, just again, whatever I do with one face, all of its neighbors are going to be moving as well, okay? So that's component manipulation. Now, you may notice that really all I can do with something like this is kind of make little hills and that sort of thing, okay? Because everything's kind of pulling along with the things I'm selecting. But what if I, wanted instead to, say, make something like a skyscraper, alright? Let's pretend we've got like a little city or something going on, there's some hills out in the distance, and now we want to have a building here, okay? So if I just grab this face and pull on it, if I pull it up high enough, it might start to look kind of like a building, but we've got all these other faces hanging on, alright? So it doesn't really have that square look to it, or rectangular look rather, okay? It's always going to kind of look more like a hill, alright? So we can actually use our extrusion tool to help us create this kind of shape that we want, alright? So basically what the extrusion tool will do for us is it's going to create new faces all the way around on each side of this face that I want to manipulate, okay? So that instead of being connected to these faces around, all right, it's going to be connected to an all new set of faces that will be created right along these edges, okay? Go to edge mode so you can see a little bit. Right along all of these edges there will be new faces created when I extrude my face here, okay? So I'm going to select this face, and instead of just trying to pull it up, I'm going to actually use an extrusion. And to do that I have to come up to Edit Mesh, alright, in my menu here. And make sure that if you use the extrusion tool that you have Keep Faces Together checked, alright? It's just a toggle switch, so you know, if I click on it, it's going to be unchecked now. If I click on it again, now we can see this little check mark here. So make sure that you have that turned on, alright, for now. And then we're just going to select this option right here, Extrude, alright? And when we hit it, it doesn't look like anything happens except for that our tool kind of changes and looks a little funny. So this is actually an indicator that our extrusion has happened, even though it might not look like anything at the moment. So what I'm going to do once I've done that extrusion is I'm just going to change to my Move tool here. And now when I pull up on this face, you can see that rather than stretching all of these faces around it, it's created these new faces all the way around that are just kind of perfectly aligned with my original face here, so that I can just pull this straight out without affecting the nearby faces, okay? So now you can see pretty quickly and easily using my extrusion technique, I can pull out little buildings, and they're just perfectly square and wonderful. So you can see how this really creates quite a different effect from, you know, just grabbing a face and moving it, which will make, again, like these little hill shapes. This is a very soft way of shaping things, alright? And this is very stark. Okay, and so that's kind of the difference that you'll see there. You know, I'll demonstrate on this sphere as well, since your model is based on a spherical shape. Again, you know, I can grab individual faces and move them out, and they can look sort of similar to an extrusion if I pull them far enough, but if we actually grab one of these faces and come up to Edit Mesh, hit Extrude, and use our Move tool, you can see the difference that we get there. Okay. You can also, when you extrude, you can still use your Scale tool or your Rotate tool, you know, and you can do some pretty crazy, unusual things with that. Okay. So I hope that clarifies what's going on with the extrude tool and the difference between that and component manipulation. Okay, so again, you know, just on your model here, these faces are still connected to the ones that are surrounding them and are just stretching those guys out. And you want to make sure that at least somewhere on your model, you know, it doesn't have to be in a particular area, but somewhere on here you'll want to apply this extrusion concept, alright? Let me know if you have any questions about anything that we went over today, and happy modeling!